Good evening, I'm Dan Wall.
And I'm Laura Lee. Thanks for joining us. It was a tense day at City Hall in Superior.
That's because the Superior Planning Commission hosted its first ever public discussion on Minnesota Power's plan to build a natural gas power plant on the banks of the Nemadji River. Now, the Nemadji Trail Energy Center would sit where that little green box is on your screen on about 26 acres near 31st Avenue East and Highway 53, close to Enbridge Energy's offices and not far from Lake Superior.
A project some in Superior, including the mayor, are trying to stop. Northern News Now's Cara Kopp was at that meeting and brings us both sides.
Any jobs from a project like this are not worth the long-term risk to our kids and grandkids. There are no jobs on a dead planet.
And as a citizen of the city of Superior, I support this.
Those were the voices of only two Superior citizens sharing their opinions on the proposed Nemadji Trail Energy Center, a controversial project creating tensions for all those involved, including Superior Mayor Jim Payne.
Could you please, as a favor, take it off your website that it's an industrial area, it's a residential neighborhood. We have to tell the truth about that if we're going to respect those people at all.
Payne was among more than a dozen community members speaking out against the project during a public hearing Wednesday. The biggest concern he brought to the table was the location, saying the proposed site was too close to bodies of water like Nemadji River, neighborhoods, and 4 local tribes.
As far as I can tell, there's been no real tribal consultation at all. That's not me saying that, that's every one of these tribes.
Other concerns of the project are the environmental impacts. However, Minnesota Power says NTAC has received 14 approvals from independent regulatory bodies, including the U.S. Department of Agriculture, deeming the project environmentally sound. But according to those with Clean Wisconsin who opposes the plan, they say the approvals are skewed.
For example, they looked at how much fossil fuels, so actually dirtier fuels like coal that the plant would replace, but they based that off of a 2001 number.
On the other end, representatives with Minnesota Power say they did their research and they believe the project will benefit Superior.
It will provide backup power when wind and solar resources are not available.
MN Power also says there will not be any gas storage tanks on site, and the natural gas burned in the power plant will be supplied on an as-need basis.
We are committed to being a good neighbor as we advance this project.
In Superior, Cara Kopp, Northern News Now.
Cara, thank you. Now, tonight was not the end of discussions about this project. MnPower will be hosting another open house next Tuesday, so Superior residents can also learn more about the project and share their concerns.